Guardians of GA'HOOLE, The Capture. Prologue. The world spiraled. The needle of the old fir tree that blurred against the night sky, and then there was a sickening sensation as the first floor raced toward him. Soren madly tried to beat with his stubby little wings. Useless, he thought. I am dead, a dead owlet, 3 weeks out of the shell, and my life ends. Suddenly, something began to soften his fall. A pocket of breeze, a cushion of wind, a downy fluff of air that lay thin through his unsightly patches of fuzz. What was it? Time slowed. His short life flowed by him, every second of it, from his very first memory. Chapter 1. Annette remembered. Notice, can you just spare a bit more down the darling? I think our third little one is about to arrive. That egg is beginning to crack. Not again, sighed Claude. What do you mean, Claude, not again? Don't you want another little brother? His father said. There was an edge to his voice. Or sister. His mother cited the low, soft whistle Barna also sometimes used. I like a sister, Soren pipped up. You just hatched out 2 weeks ago. Claude turned to Soren, his younger brother. What do you know about sisters? Maybe, Soren thought to himself, they will be better than brothers. Claude seemed to have resented him since the moment that he had first hatched. You really wouldn't want them arriving just when you're about to begin branching, Claude said dully. Branching was the first step that literally toward flight. The young owlets would begin by hopping from branch to branch and flapping their wings. Now, Claude, his father admonished, don't be impatient. There'll be time for branching. Remember, you won't have your flight feathers for at least another month or more. Soren was just about to ask what a month was when he heard a crack. The owl family all seemed to freeze. To any other forest creature, the sound would have been imperceptible. But barn owls were blessed with extraordinary hearing. It's coming, Soren's mother gasped. I'm so excited. She sighed again, and looked rapturously at the pure white egg as it rocked back and forth. A tiny hole appeared, and from it protruded a small spark. It's exuded by gloves! Soren's father exclaimed. Mine was bigger, wasn't it, Dad? Claude shoved Soren aside for a better look, but Soren crept back up under his father's wing. Oh, I don't know, son, but isn't it a pretty, glistening little point? Always gives me a thrill. Such a tiny little thing poking its way into the big wide world. Ah, bless my gizzard, the wonder of it all. It did indeed seem a wonder. Soren stared at the hole that now began to split into 2 or 3 cracks. The air shuddered slightly, and the cracks grew longer and wider. He had done his himself just 2 weeks ago. This was exciting. What's happening to my egg tooth, Mom? It dropped off, stupid, Gloss said. Oh, Soren said quietly. His parents were so absorbed in the hatching that they didn't reprimand Claude for his rudeness. Where's Mrs. P? Mrs. P? His mother said urgently. Right here, ma'am. Mrs. Percival, the old blind snake who had been with the owl family for years and years, slithered into the hollow. Blind snakes born without eggs, served as nest mice, and were kept by the many owls to make sure the nests were clean and free of maggots and the various insects that found their way into the hollows. Mrs. P, no maggots or the vermin in that corner were not put in the fresh down. Course not, ma'am. Now, how many broods of owlets have I been through with you? Oh, sorry, Mrs. P. How could I have ever adopted you? I'm always nervous at hatching. Each one is just like the first time. I never get used to it. Don't you apologize, ma'am. You think that any other birds would care to chew with if their nest was clean? The story that I've heard about seagulls, oh my goodness. Well, I won't even go into it. Blind snakes prided themselves on working for owls, whom they considered the noblest of birds. Meticulous, the blind snakes had great disdain for the other birds that they felt were the less clean due to their unfortunate digestive processes that caused them to eliminate only the sloopy wet droppings instead of nice neat bundles. The pellets that owls yerped or spit up. Also, owls did digest and the soft parts of their food in a manner similar to other birds, and indeed passed it in a liquid form. For some reason, they were never associated with these lesser digestive processes. All the fur and bones and tiny teeth of their prey, like mice, that could not be digested in the ordinary way, were pressed into the little pellets, just the shape and size of the owl's gizzard. Several hours after the eating, the owls would yerp them up, wet poopers. Is how many the nestmate snakes referred to other birds. Of course, Mrs. Flittiver was much too proper to use such coarse language. Mom, Soren gasped. Look at that! The nest suddenly seemed to reverberate with a huge cracking sound. Again, only huge to the ear slit of Bernals. Now the egg split. A pale slimy blob flopped out. It's a girl! A long shriek called streamed from his mother's throat. It was the shriek of pure happiness. Adorable! Soren's mother sighed. Enchanting, said Soren's father. Claude yawned, and Soren stared dumbfounded at the wet, naked thing with its huge, bulging eyes sealed tightly shut. What's wrong with her head, Mom? Soren asked. Nothing, dear. Chicks just have very large heads. It takes a while for their bodies to catch up. Not to mention their brains, Claude muttered. So they can't hold their heads off right away, said his mother. You are the same way. What shall we call the little dear? Soren's father asked. Eglantine. Soren's father replied immediately. I have always wanted a little Eglantine. Oh, Mom, I love the name, Soren said. He softly repeated the name. Then he tipped it toward the little pulsing mass of white. Eglantine, he whispered softly, and he saw the one eye sealed eye open, just a slit, and A teeny voice said to say hi. The servant loved his little sister immediately. 1 second, Eglinton had been this crippling little wet blob, and then a minute later, it seemed as if she had turned it into a fluffy white ball of down. She grew stronger quickly, or so it appeared to Thorne. His parents assured him that he too had done exactly the same. That evening it was time for the first insect ceremony. Her eyes were full open, and she was bawling with hunger. Eglinton could hardly make it through her father's welcome to title speech. Little Eglinton, welcome to the forest of Title Forest of the Burn Owls, or Title Owl, as we are the more formally known. Once upon a time, long ago, we did indeed live in barns, but now we and the other titled cousins live in this forest kingdom known as Title. We are the weird indeed, and we are perhaps the smallest of all the owl kingdoms. Also, in truth, it has been a long time since we had a king. Someday, when you grow up, when you enter your second year, you too will fly out from his hollow and find one of your own in which to live with a mate. This was the part of the speech that amazed and disturbed Thurman. He simply could not imagine growing up and having a nest of his own. How could he be this separated from his parents? And yet there was this urge to fly even now with his stubby little wings, that licked even the smallest side of through the flight feathers. And now, Soren's father continued, it is time for your first insect ceremony. He turned to Soren's mother. Marilla, my dear, can you bring this forward the cricket? Soren's mother stepped up. In her beak she held one of the summer's last crickets. It up, young'un. Head first, yes, down the beak. Yes, always head first. That's the proper way. Be it a cricket, mouse, or roll. Sighed Soren's father as he watched his daughter swallow the cricket. This is it, ain't it so? Claude blinked and yawned. Sometimes his parents really embarrassed him, especially his dad with his stupid jokes. Will of the wood, muttered Claude. That dawn, after the owls had settled down, Soren was still so excited by his little sister's arrival that he could not sleep. His parents had retired to the ledge above him where they slept, but he could hear their voices threading through the dammed morning light that filtered into the hollow. Oh, Nectus, it is very strange. Another hour has disappeared. Yes, my dear, I'm afraid so. How many is that now in the last few days? 50 missing, I believe. That's many more than can be accounted for by the raccoons. Yes, Nectus replied grimly. And there is something else. What? His wife replied in a lowered, wavering hood. Eggs. Eggs? Eggs have disappeared. Eggs from a nest? Yes, I'm afraid so. No, Merlin elbowed gasped. I have never heard of such a thing. That is unspeakable. I thought I must tell you that in a case we are blessed with another brood. Oh, great glocks, his mother gasped, throwing aside the blanket wide. He had never heard his mother swear before, but we so seldom leave the nest during the broody times. Whoever it is must watch us. She paused, watch us constantly. Whoever it is can fly or climb, Noctis Alva said darkly. Soren felt a sense of dread seeped into the hollow. How thankful he was that Eglantine had not been snatched while just an egg. He vowed that he would never leave her alone. It seemed to Soren that as soon as Eglantine ate her first insect, she never stopped eating. His mother and father assured him that he had been the same. And you still are, Soren, and it's almost time for your first fur on meat ceremony. That was what life was like whose first week in the little nest. One ceremony after another, each is limited in some way or another, led to the truly the biggest, perhaps the most solemn yet joyous a moment in a young owl's life. First flight. "Fur," whispered Soren. He couldn't quite imagine what it was like, what it was felt like slipping down his throat. His mother always stripped off all the fur from the meat, and then tore out the bones before offering the little tidbits of the fresh mouse or squirrel to Soren. Claude was almost ready for his first bone ceremony, when he would be allowed to eat the whole bit, as Soren's father said, and it was just before the first bones that a young owl began branching, and just after all that, it would begin its first real flight under the watchful eye of his parents. "Hop, hop, that's it, Claude. Now up with the wings just as you began the hop to that next branch. And remember, you are just branching now, no flying, and even after your first flight lesson, no flying by yourself until Mom and I say so." "Yes, Dad," Claude said in a bored voice. Then he muttered, "How many times have I heard this lecture?" Soren had heard it many times, too. Even so, he was now here near the branching. The worst thing a young owl could do was to try to fly before it was ready. And of course, young owls usually did this when their parents were out hunting. It was so tempting to try once newly fledged wings, but it would most likely end in the disastrous crash, leaving the little owlets nestless. Perhaps badly injured and on the ground exposed to dangerous predators. The lecture was brief this time, and the branching lesson resumed. Crisp fly, boy, keep the noise down. Owls are silent flyers. But I'm not flying yet, as you kept reminding me constantly. What's it matter if I'm noisy now when I'm just branching? Bad habit. Little noisy the fly, the hard to the outgrown noise habits starting in the branching. Oh, brother. Oh, I'll bother you. Noctis exploded, and gave his son a cuff on the head that nearly tipped his over. Soren had to admit that Claude didn't even whimper, but just picked himself up and gave his dad a glaring look and resumed hopping, slightly less noisily than before. There was a series of soft, short hisses from the Mrs. Festival. Difficult one. That one. My. Glad your mom's not here to see this eglantine. Mrs. Flitford called out suddenly. Even though she was blind, she seemed to know exactly what the young owlets were doing at any given moment. She now heard the crunch of the nest bug in Eglinton's beaks. Put the nest bug down. The owls do not eat nest bugs. That's what house snakes do. If you keep it up, you'll just grow fat and squishy and won't be prepared for your first meat ceremony, and then now no first fur, and then no first bows, and then no, well, you know what. Now your mom is just out looking for a nice chubby fawn with soft fur for Soren's first fur ceremony. And she might even find a nice wiggly little centipede for you. Oh, they're so much fun to eat, Soren exclaimed. All the little legs splittering down your gullet. Oh, Soren, tell me the story about the first time you ate a centipede, Eglantine begged. Mrs. Philipper sighed softly. It was so sweet. Eglantine hung on every word of Soren's. True sisterly love, and Soren loved her right back. She wasn't sure what exactly that had happened with their older brother Claude. There was always one difficult one in brood, but Claude was more than just difficult. There was something Mrs. Flitford thought hard, just something missing with Claude. Something rather unnatural and owlish. Sing the centipede song, Soren, sing it. Soren opened his beak wide and began to sing. What gives a wiggle and makes you giggle? When you eat it, whose wincy little feet make my heart really beat? Why it's those little creepy crawlies that makes me feel so jolly. For the darling centipede, my favorite buggy feed, I always want some more. That's the insect that I adore. More than beetles, more than crickets, which time give me the hiccups. I crave only to feed on a juicy centipede, and I shall be happy forever more. Just as Soren finished the song, his mother flew into the hollow and dropped a fowl at her feet. A nice fat one, my dear. Enough for your first fur ceremony and Claude's first bones. I want my own, Claude said. Nonsense, dear. You could never eat a whole bowl. Whole bowl? Squeaked Eglantine. Oh, Mom, it rhymes. Rhymes. I love rhymes. I want one all for myself, Claude persisted. Now look here, Claude. Marilla fixed her son in a dark, steady gaze. We do not waste food around here. This is a very large bowl. There is enough for you to have your firstborn family. Soren held his first fur ceremony, and Eglantine to have her first meat. Meat? I get to eat meat! Eglantine gave a little howl of excitement. She seemed to have forgotten all about the joys of centipedes. And so, Claude, when you want a bowl all of your own, you can just go out and hunt it for yourself. I spent most of the night tracking down this one. Food is scarce in Taito. This time of year I'm exhausted. A huge orange moon sailed in the autumn sky. It seemed to hover just above the great field tree, where the Storen and his family lived, and it cast a soft glow in through the opening of the hollow. It was indeed the perfect night for the ceremonies that these owls loved that, and that marked their grounds and the passage of time. And so that night, just before the dawn, the three little owlets had their first meat, first fur, and first bone ceremonies, and Claude yarped his first real pellet. It was the exact shape of his gizzard, which had pressed it into the tight little bundle of bone and fur. "Oh, that's fine pellet, son," Claude's father said. "Yes, indeed," his mother agreed. "Quite admirable." And Claude for once seemed satisfied, and Mrs. Flipper thought privately to herself how no bird could be really bad that had such a noble digestive system. The night from the time that the big orange moon began to slip down in the sky until the first great streak of the new dawn, Noctis Alba told the stories that the owls had loved to hear from the time of Glox. Glox was the most ancient order of owls from which all other owls descended. So his father began. Once upon a very long time ago, in the time of Gloss, there was an order of nightly owls from a kingdom called GA'HOOLE, who would rise each night into the blackness and perform noble deeds. They spoke no words but the true ones. Their purpose was to right all wrongs, to make strong the weak, mend the broken, vanquish the proud, and make the proudest those whom abused the frail. With hearts sublimed, they would take flight. Claude yawned. "Is this a true story or what, Dad?" "It's a legend, Claude," his father answered. "But is it true?" Claude whined. "I only like true stories." "A legend, Claude, is a story that you begin to feel in your gizzard. And then, over time, it becomes true in your heart, and perhaps makes you become a better owl."